data to train generative AI models and sometimes even sell it to third parties. So today, we're going to talk about what data social media platforms are actually collecting on you, what they do with the data, and then most importantly, we're going to talk about what you should actually do about it. All platforms do this. Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, every social media platform is kind of doing the same thing here, collecting 3 layers of data on you. The first layer is the metadata. Metadata means data about data. And this is what I like to call the obvious data. This is the data like your caption text, your hashtags, the location you posted from, even down to the device type that you use to post the content. And of course, they're also looking at the video and the photo itself. And this is the data that's obvious, right? We know that we're giving this data away. If you're putting that content out there, you can almost assume that the social media platform is going to be collecting data on the actual content itself. But layer 2 is where things go a little bit deeper and get a little more interesting. This is the behavioral data. And this is what I like to call the less obvious data. These are things like user behavior. So if a user is scrolling and they stop on your post, if they pause on your post, if they rewind and restart your video, if they expand the caption and scroll down, if they zoom in on your video or your photo, if they rewatch it, save, and then of course, if they DM it to someone else. And the last 2 I mentioned, we know are very important metrics that go into the performance of your content, but we'll talk about those a little bit later. Layer 3 is the most interesting layer because this is where things actually begin to scale. And this is what I call the big data machine. This is where we get into big data and analytics, and we actually aggregate all of these insights and look at overall trends. And the truth is that social media platforms don't care how your content performs. As content creators, we care how our content performs. We're obsessing over all the numbers, the metrics, the likes, the comments, how many views did I get, did I go viral? But the platform doesn't care about your post. The harsh truth is that they care about the overall content trends that support their goals and their big business model. So your one tiny Instagram post becomes a tiny little data point that goes into a big overall trend. And they want to learn what keeps people on the platform longer, what makes people come back tomorrow, and what topics are shared and saved, which we know are high value engagement metrics. So, social media platforms are collecting all this data on our content, on what users are doing with our content. But what do companies actually do with all this data? Use case number 1, of course, is the algorithm. They're using your data to make algorithm decisions. So from the content creator side of things, that's determining who sees your content, how quickly it's distributed and accumulating views, and how long your content stays alive on the platform and continues to get views and engagement. From the consumer side of things, the algorithm is determining what type of content you see. So, is it really a bad thing that they're collecting our data and using it? Sometimes it can actually be really useful, right? Because if you're interested in fitness, you're able to get a curated feed of fitness videos. If you've never worked out a day in your life, you might prefer dog videos or travel videos or something different. So the data could definitely be a good thing. And the algorithm does this by looking at all these different content signals. The algorithm is picking up negative signals, so if someone scrolls quickly past your content, if they select not interested, or if they close the app right after seeing your content, which might be the biggest insult as a content creator. And then of course, they're also looking at positive signals. So likes, profile views, follows, and then we have our strong positive signals, which are the most valuable forms of engagement. And that is the watch time on your post, pauses, rewatches, saves, and shares and DMs, Those are gonna be the most valuable engagements out there. So the algorithm is learning what keeps people on the platform longer and optimizing for your attention. So again, why do platforms even care about this? The truth is that we're part of their big business model. Don't make money when you post. They make money when you make people stay. Because algorithms are optimized for attention, retention, and time spent. They want to keep people on the platform to make more money. So how do they make that money? A big way is ads. So the second big use case that people are using your data for is for ad targeting. Social media platforms can sell ads to other companies, and they can use interest signals. So they can say, let's show this ad to people who are interested in fitness or travel. Well, they already have millions, billions of data points on people who are interested in those exact niches. So they can get hyper-specific about targeting the exact persona and type of person that would be most interested in that company. And they can also do something similar with lookalike audiences. So they can find all the customers of this company, people that have already purchased the product, look at their user behavior on social media, see all the things they're doing, how they behave, what they're doing on social media, and then they can find people who act in a very similar way, engaging in similar types of content, doing similar things. And the idea here is that if this company targets this other group with ads, that they're gonna purchase and convert well because they look like the people that already converted. And the third big use case is AI training. Of course, I have to say AI in a presentation. It's 2026, right? So AI systems are used to write human language, analyze trends, and understand human behavior at scale. But where do you get the data to train AI systems? Human behavior is super complex. It can be really hard to make things sound very human. So they have to have a ton of training data to really learn human behavior and make AI generate useful outputs at scale. And the training data they use for that is, of course, your posts, your comments, everything you're doing on social media, because they're already collecting all this data on you. A recent news story is from arguably my favorite social media platform, LinkedIn. LinkedIn updated their terms of service on November 3rd, 2025, and this was literally like 2 months ago. So if you're on LinkedIn, this should probably be a big takeaway of today's presentation. They just updated their terms of service saying that they will use members' data by default to train their generative AI models unless users manually opt out. So by default, you're already opted in to having your data used in the AI training, which is crazy, right? You're manually opted in unless you go opt out. So what data are they using? They're using your public data, your profile, your work history, your education, your public posts, your comments, interaction data on the platform, and even things that you input into their AI tools. But they say they're not using private data like private messages, login details, passwords, and payment info. So is it a bad thing? Honestly, I don't know. That's a tough call. So, social media platforms are collecting a lot of different layers of data on us every time we post any type of content. And they're doing a lot of different things about it. They're fueling the algorithm, they're creating ads, they're training AI. The real question isn't what happens after you hit post, it's how much control do we actually have over what happens after we hit post? And that's exactly what Caitlin is gonna walk us through, how to protect your data in a world where posting is only the beginning.
All right, with that data, besides just feeding you advertisements. So the first question I have is, how many of you in here think, who cares? Because I get that question almost every day. Who cares if these people have my data? I'm posting every day. Why does it matter? I don't care if they know what I liked, right? I can kind of agree with you. So when the internet first started, when we first started using Instagram, who cares if they knew that I tagged myself in Dubai? Or who cares if they knew that I liked this one post? But what happens if they start accumulating the data? So not only do we have the physical threats, who here heard about, oh, if you say that you're leaving, someone might burglarize your house, okay? We also have now scammers actively targeting you. So say, for example, you came here, you tagged that you were at this hotel and said, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm speaking at this conference. I'm staying at the Emirates Tower Hotel. Well, now scammers know exactly how to target me. They can say, hey, this is the Emirates Tower Hotel. We need you to come down, or, we didn't actually get your credit card information. Can you click on the link and fill this out? So we have more targeted attacks online. But Jess also talked about AI. And this is where things can get really scary, because AI turns data into predictions. So not only is it storing your data and learning from you, but it's actually predicting what you're going to do in the future. And as a cybersecurity and data privacy expert, that's what really freaks me out. So I want to give you kind of another quick example. So who here has a smartwatch or a health tracker or anything like that? Anyone? Oura Rings, Apple Watches, Garmin's? Okay, so imagine that you are tracking your health, you're tracking your sleep. For women, you're tracking your flow, all this stuff. And then you start using ChatGPT and start plugging things in. Oh, here's all my health data. I took some blood work, here's what's going on. And AI is actively learning who you are. And you're like, hey, today I ate this. Or a lot of people, actually my manager who's right here, tracks what she eats with ChatGPT. She's like, hey, I'm eating this. Should I eat this? How many calories, how many proteins? What happens, and these are the symptoms I have, or I'm starting to feel a little bit like this. What happens if AI is starting to feed that and tie it all together and then send that input to your health companies? What happens if your health company is like, hey, AI is actually telling us that they might have signs of cancer in 2 years. We're cutting that off, or we're increasing the health insurance. So you actually have no clue what could be happening in the future, and we're gonna cover that in a little bit. And you might think this isn't happening now, but it is. So I don't know if Instacart is here, but Instacart is like a Deliveroo convenience store app in the US. And it started enabling AI pricing. So I don't know about you, but I'm obsessed with mac and cheese. So for example, if I ordered mac and cheese and Instacart knew every day or every week I ordered mac and cheese, the price increased for me. Didn't increase for everyone else, but it knew I was gonna get mac and cheese no matter what the price was, and it increased. So this stuff is already happening to us every day, and I just wanna be mindful of the controls that you actually have that you can take, because a lot of people think, who cares and I don't have control, but really we actually do have a lot more control than we think. So, what is cybersecurity? Now, I can go in depth about what cybersecurity is, but in general, cybersecurity is how we protect our digital footprint. It started back with healthcare companies, governments, and corporate offices, because that were really the only people that had access to that type of technology back in the 80s and 90s. But now we are literally connected every second of every day. There's something on your pocket, there's something on your wrist, there's something we are connected all the time, whether we like it or not. So how are you protecting yourself from cyber threats, from privacy risks? And that's what we're gonna go through. So cybersecurity is the CIA triad. It's confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. So how are you keeping your data confidential, meaning that only the right people can see it? So if you're a business owner, you know that every time that you are doing anything with business, you probably use multiple systems, right? You're on Instagram, you have an automation tool, you use Microsoft Word, you use Gmail. We have an entire suite of things that we use and we feed all of this data to. So you should know that we need to make sure that we're keeping our data confidential and only to the right people. We don't realize that we're sharing our data with so many people. The other thing is integrity, making sure that the data is accurate. And availability, making sure the right people have it at the right time, because nothing's worse than when you want to get data and you have to go through all these hoops in order to get it. So one thing that I want people to really realize is free products are not free. Every single thing that you do on a free app, a free website, a free game, they are literally collecting as much data on you as possible and then selling it off. But you have control over this, and we're gonna go through that in the next 4 minutes. The company literally has to make money somehow, and they make money on you. So that's either advertising or marketing. And I think the other thing is with AI, people don't realize it's starting to track your eyes. So when you're on your phone and you're looking, it's gonna start tracking exactly where you're looking, what's holding your attention, what's not. It's already tracking like how long you hover over links before you click it. It is looking at pretty much everything. And I don't know about you, but if anyone's ever asked AI to do an analysis, like a psychoanalyst on them, it knows a lot. So can you imagine getting even more information on you? It will know exactly what you do, what you like, how you feel, and how to kind of manipulate you in some kind of creepy, crazy way. But this is how we can currently protect our data. So almost every way that people are protecting data, corporations are protecting data, we have control over. So the first is authentication. That is making sure that your passwords are strong. Who here reuses passwords? And I swear, you all should be raising your hand because everyone reuses their password, and they shouldn't. So that is one way that you can start making sure that you are secure. And two-factor authentication. So you are signing in with not just a password, but with another form of identity. Because like a text to an email, or a code to a text or an email or an authenticator app. That is so important. That makes sure that people that don't need access to your data don't get access. The next is encryption. Now we don't have as much to do with this. This is a lot. Is make sure it's HTTPS. S stands for secure. That's 256-bit encryption. That's standard encryption for every website. If it's not an S, don't trust that website. So that's something that you can look for. Permissions. We have controls over this. How many times do we download apps, right? And it says, hey, we want to access your microphone. We want to access your location. We want to access your camera. And you're like, allow, allow, allow. I just want to use the app. We have access to say, no, you don't have access to my entire camera roll. No LinkedIn, you can't look at every single one of my posts. And monitoring, a lot of times companies also monitor. So we have a little control over this too, and I'm gonna walk you through every single one that you have control over. Cookies choices, ad preferences, app permissions, data deletion, opt-out. We're gonna go through all those right now. So cookie choices, everyone just automatically blindly presses accept all. You don't have to do that. Take 2 extra seconds and reject all of it except for necessary cookies. So those ones that are turned on, you can turn them off. You don't need them on. The next is ad preferences. So one of my first viral videos was, do you think Google knows about you? And this is what Google thinks it knows about me. I'm gonna let you decide if it's right or wrong. Female, 25 to 34, English speaking, in a relationship, says I have a high income household. Fun fact, I don't know if that's true or not, but this is all the stuff Google is collecting on you, and you can see it. If you go to this website, you can see. You can also have them remove it. So a lot of ad preferences, it's serving you the right ads, or if you're like, I like my ads, keep it, totally fine. But you can do this on multiple browsers too, so not only Google, but Firefox, etc. And you can clear it, and you can have them not track for ad preferences. This is the big one, app permissions. All right, your apps are tracking so much more than you think, have access to so much more than you think. Instagram camera roll, you literally scans every single one of your cameras. Actually, Meta came out with and said, hey, can you allow access so we can suggest cool ways that you can post? So that means that they are literally constantly scanning your camera roll, where you're taking those photos, and they're suggesting things that you can post on their platform, which is great for them because they want you on the platform. But it's not great for you because that means they're scanning literally every camera on your camera roll that you haven't even uploaded, any pictures at all. So make sure that you're looking at your microphone settings, your location settings, your all of that stuff. And all you have to do is go to settings and you just turn it off. It's a toggle and it's a one-time thing. So it's not that difficult to do, and it gives you way more control than you think. The next is data deletion. If you're in the US, I know we're not in the US, I have a tool that shows you, or you honestly just Google your name. So my name's Caitlin Sarian. I would say Caitlin Sarian phone number, and you'll see tons of stuff that pops up about all the places that have your personal information. And then just in closing, your data today shapes how systems treat you tomorrow. So people are always like, why? It doesn't matter. I already have everything. They have everything. They don't. And the systems are constantly learning you every single day. So every single time you go online, you're giving them more and more to work with. So just because you're unaware of the consequences today doesn't mean it won't have a consequence in the future. And I want to leave you with that. So thank you guys so much. And I want to bring Jess back on because we want to actually take really quick B-roll, but we appreciate you. All right, should we take a little? Yeah. All right, we're going to take a little fun video. Here, should we send this way? For Instagram, because we might as well, or not. I don't know, it's not working anymore. Technical difficulties. Oh, there we go.
Okay, there we go.
All right, everyone wave. All right, we've never done that. It's really uncomfortable. But we're gonna stand. Thank you.
Great. Hey. Thank you so very much.
That was